the next part of working on our template, our two-column layout. And I want to focus on the content that we put in our structure. Okay, so mainly what would we put where, and we're just trying to fill it out. But I do want to kind of cover a little thing about headers and the header 1, header 2, because there have been some changes over the last couple of years. The W3C started going in a new direction, and now they've stopped and they've gone back. So I'll tell you a little bit about that as we go through and add some content. So we have a nav in here that has a class of site nav, nothing in it. Of course, this will be our navigation bar, and we're going to create in here an unordered list of links. Now, rather than just code them all out, let me just tell you, go to the HTML-Ipsum.com, and you can actually just grab your code right off of this site. So it's HTML-Ipsum.com. What's nice is this helps you drop in content then this, of course, is just for layout purposes. It's all in Latin, so we don't want to read it, but we want to have the tags. So we're just going to grab the tags we have here. So you'll notice we have a standard list navigation that includes the nav tag. Now I'm just going to, normally I just click on here and it would copy everything in the window. We don't need to copy the nav. We're just going to copy the UL. So I'm just going to right-click in here and just choose copy. So I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to paste that in, tab everything over. Okay, so now, like normally, for a while, HTML5 has, they'd been suggesting that each section, like each header, section, nav, article, aside, each of these, you could put a header, and if you put a header for your article, you would put it, they were telling you to put a header 1 because it was the top header of that article. Well, it turns out they've changed their minds, and that's because the ways browsers are implementing, it's in light of browsers, it's also in light of assistive technologies, which would be technologies, for example, people who can't see, if they want to access the internet, they would actually need to go in and use like one that would read off the net. We also want to have it so that sometimes there's just different ways that we can structure our site, and this is to help it. This will also create a site outline. So what we're going to do is basically they've changed it back to the old school, which header 1 indicates that's the topmost header. Okay. Number 2, header 2 does something in the outline, and I'll show you in a moment. So in the past, we would have put a header 1 in here, but this should go in as a header 2. The only thing that should be header 1 is the title of the site. This is what I used to teach, and then I stopped teaching it because HTML5 was suggesting not to do it. Well, now they've backtracked, and they're back on this particular way of doing it. So this is how we're going to do it. So we'll put on here content header, and then we'll do one for the aside as well, and we're going to make this also a header 2, but we're going to put sidebar header. Okay, I'm going to save my changes. We're going to go ahead and launch this just so you can see what it looks like. I launch it in Chrome. It looks like this. Notice header 1 is the largest, header 2s are all even sized. Now, so that's the code. So we're going to look at the code, but I want to show you the outliner tool. So there's an online tool that does this automatically for you. gsnetters.html5.org. It's actually using Python script to do this. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy our HTML, put it into here, and we're going to get the outline of our web page. So I highlight everything. I copy it. Control-C to copy. I delete what's currently in there. I paste it in. I click Outline This. And notice we have the following outline. Now I'm going to move this to the side so you can see how this compares to what we've done. Oops. Go back here. You'll notice website, company, title. That's that header 1. Notice tagline. That really shouldn't be part of our outline. The other thing you're going to notice is we have an untitled section. It's because we created a nav, but we didn't give it a header. And it doesn't like that. Okay. Now, we normally don't put headers into our navs. But what I'm going to argue that what we're going to start doing is we're going to get in the habit here is we're going to go ahead and put a header in the nav. And we're doing it for assistive technologies. We're doing it for search engines as well as another thing that we do it. And then with our CSS, we're just going to hide it. So when you view it, you won't see it. But it will give structure to our site. Okay, so that's untitled. Notice content header, sidebar header. So let's go ahead and let's do two things. Let's change this to a paragraph. Okay, so a tagline will now be a paragraph, but let's go ahead and give it a class of tagline. Okay, so that we can style this any way we want. So we give it a class of tagline. Also, in our nav, we're going to put a header 2 in here. And I'm just going to put navigation section. So I'm going to title it as to what it really is. And I'm going to go ahead and put content section and sidebar section. Now, later on, you'll probably give it your own content when you take it from a template to a real website, but at least this gives us the structure. Now I'm going to save my changes. I'm going to select everything. I'm going to copy it. And now I'm going to paste it in here. Outline it, and now you'll see the difference. So now we no longer have the tagline in our outline because it's not a header. And you will notice it's a true outline because the outermost is the website company title. That's actually the name of our web page. Then we have navigation section, content section, sidebar section on here. What would happen if we put some header level 3? Okay, so on our content section, we may very well create some section headers. And then we might add some more content. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the HTML-Ipsum to get, we'll try a medium paragraph. I click it, it copies it to the clipboard. I paste, hit enter, paste again. Let's create another header 3 with another section header. Paste another paragraph in there. So note we have a header 2 and we have 2 header 3s. I'll put on here first section header. I'll put on here second section header so that we can see it in the outline. Save my changes, copy everything. Let's go back to the outliner. Go back a link, paste, outline this, outliner. And now you'll see under content section we have first section header, second section header. Now add an H4 and you'll know that it's going to further develop that out. Okay. So with each header level, we're actually creating our outline level here as well. Okay. So this is now the proper way to do it. And if for some reason we did one of these as a header 1, watch what happens on the validator. First of all, I've got this copied right now, so I'm going to go to the validator, the W3C validator, validator.w3.org. I'm going to go to direct input. Now I'm going to paste my code in here, what I have, and click it, see if we have no errors. Notice it's successfully checked as HTML5. It gives us 2 warnings. One warning has to do with UTF mode. And don't worry, there's not much else we can do about it. The other one is it says it's an experimental feature because it's HTML5. And technically, HTML5 might change. So, and already this has changed because I'm going to show you the way which it has changed. So if for some reason we went the way HTML5 originally suggested we need to do it, we would have put a header 1 there. So I'm going to save my changes. I'm going to copy all this and paste it in now. And now I'm going to revalidate. First thing you're going to notice, I have an extra warning here. And the warning is now saying on here, line 24, column 7, consider using the H1 element as a top-level heading only. In other words, title of the page, everything else needs to be an H2 or beyond. Okay? So the validator is now going to be looking for that when it runs it through. Okay, so that's going to give you a warning. Okay, we're back on here. We've got our content. The last thing I want to make sure you do is add a little bit of stuff to the sidebar so when we do our layout we can see it. We go back to HTML-Ipsum. This time I'm going to do an unordered list of short items. Paste it in. Uh-oh, I pasted the wrong location. Stupid laptop. Tab everything over a couple times. Tabbing looks good. Let's go to the footer. Last thing on here, in our footer, we're going to add some information about the site, which will just be site designed by, or I'll put layout designed by. Put a hyperlink to my website. Close the anchor. Last thing we want to do is put a little copyright symbol. So we'll do the symbol. It's called an HTML entity. We start with the ampersand. We type out a key, like a symbol code, in this case copy for copyright, end with a semicolon, and that will create the copyright symbol. It is 2014. We close our paragraph, save our changes. Let's go back to the page that had it. Hit refresh. Notice the tagline is now small, but we can style it. We got our nav bar. We got our content. We filled it out. And at the very bottom, there it is, that little paragraph in our footer with the copyright symbol using the ampersand copy. Okay, in the next tutorial segment, we're going to start generating our layout and actually doing some styling.